Hello everyone, and welcome back to the segment where I share with you the mistakes that I've made, so you don't have to. We're keeping the talk centered around DIY musician, bedroom producer, all of that fun stuff when you're just starting out learning how to record and produce your own music. I think one of the biggest and most important things that a lot of people overlook here is protecting your data. Keeping good backups of every song that you produce, every idea that you have, even if it's just something smaller, like you have like a really good effects chain set up for processing your lead vocals. Save that in a file. Save it forever. Hard drives and computers are not perfect technology. A hard drive can fail just at a moment's notice, and if there's no backup of it, you just lost everything. Not to mention natural disaster kind of stuff, like, power surge, and the power surge fried your computer. I've been there. You have your house catch on fire, and your house burns up all of your computer stuff, your hard drive included. I haven't been there yet, knock on wood. So keeping good backups is super important. Nobody wants to lose their creative progress. Nobody wants to have that masterpiece song almost finished and then start over from square one. It's probably going to be very hard for you to remember every single little thing that you did to make the song sound good in the first place. So just do yourself a favor and keep really diligent, really good backups. My old teacher said that no piece of data exists unless it's backed up in at least 3 places. And it sounds a little bit excessive, but it's actually really good advice to go by. Next time you have a few extra bucks, just swoop up a good external USB plug-in hard drive, take all of your important files, and just save it. If you can afford to get 2 of them, then that's even better. The idea is not to just have one backup, but to have a backup for your backup, and a backup for that backup's backup. Anyway, moving on now. The next point I'd like to get to is that I would say that mixing and mastering myself, my own music and my own pet projects, is probably something that most people would consider to be a mistake. Knowing how to mix your own music is both a blessing and a curse, because that means that you want to do every project for yourself because you know how and you don't have to rely on someone else, but it's also a lot better if you do rely on someone else. And here's why. If you wrote the song and if you recorded the song and if it means a lot to you, then you're probably going to be kind of married to the song as far as making sure that it comes out as high quality as it possibly can. Which there's absolutely nothing wrong with, but it's also very easy to get caught up in the whole perfectionist kind of thing. It's very hard for me to call one of my own songs finished. It's very hard for me to finalize a mix and be happy with it forever. Whereas if you just hire somebody else who's a really good engineer, they're not going to be factoring all of this into it. They're just going to make your song sound as good as they can with an unbiased ear. This is especially important in like a band situation too. Being the vocal and guitar guys in the band, I'm always the most concerned with making my part sound the best that it possibly can, and maybe I'm not turning up the bass and the drums as loud as they should be. You're going to be biased towards whatever part you performed. And it's actually going to make you hear the song differently than an unbiased, experienced engineer would. So if you can afford it, then definitely have somebody else take over when it comes to the mixing and the mastering stage. I guarantee that you will almost always end up with a better product a lot faster that way. The next big mistake I've really made is not working fast enough. I think that anybody who creates kind of has the same problem. You don't end up finishing a piece that you started before you have the next cool idea for the next new piece, and then that one gets partially finished, and then you have another cool idea, and then pretty soon you have all these half-baked ideas, and you don't have any entire songs complete at all. I've just been letting projects and material just stack up like this for years and years. I have like a nightmare-long list of things that I need to go through and finish. In a sense, it's kind of cool because it's like I'll never get bored and I'll never run out of material because I already have so much stuff that's half done and halfway ready that anytime that I'm in need for a song, I definitely have somewhere I can pull it from. The idea is just to learn to call the song finished sooner. The more you improve your skills, the easier it will be to reach this point, and also the more you suppress the perfectionist inside of you, the more quickly you will be able to work. And I know that nobody wants to hear that, but it's the hard truth of being a creator. We'll segue here because there's another side of this coin that can be just as bad of a mistake, if not worse, and that is releasing your music too early. I know we're all tempted to put out like a demo version or just make a post online and be like, hey, look at this work in progress that I got. And, you know, sometimes that can be fun and cool, but also other times, and especially if you don't have a very big audience or following, that first sneak peek look could completely steal the thunder of your release. If it's about to release in, say, a month or two, and you just finished the recording session and you want to get all your buddies hyped on it, so you just put together a really basic version of the song and you put it up on your SoundCloud, you kind of just spoiled the surprise. How much better is this song actually going to sound to the untrained ear, to your average listener who's not an engineer or anything? By the time you finish that song and put out the finished version, how much different is it really going to be? If it's just going to be the exact same song, just a little bit prettier with some more reverb and compression on it, then you're really better off just to save it and not make that coming soon sneak peek preview kind of post. This could lead to regretting your project later on down the line. I think this happened on like all of my early releases, where I think I'm making it sound as good as I possibly can on my computer, and then I get excited, and then I go and give copies to all my friends, and then I'm driving around in the car, and I'm listening to it in my friend's car stereo, and I realize there's something wrong with this mix. This song does not sound like it should. So there's something to be said with cutting all the perfectionist tinkering and just putting the product out there, and just putting out a larger volume of work, failing faster, as they say. But you also have to be sure of what you're doing. You have to be making good decisions while you're pushing these songs out the door quickly, if you don't want to end up with a whole bunch of stuff that you regret later on down the line, a whole bunch of stuff that you want to redo. You'll notice on my channel that I'm slowly rebooting a lot of stuff that I did from around the 2009 to 2015 kind of era, when I was learning how to produce and my end products were not that great. So that's all I'm saying here, is if you don't do this stuff right away, then there might be some point down the road where you're doing all the same work again. The last point we're going to touch on here is buy yourself a nice pair of studio monitors. They don't have to be the most expensive, fanciest ones. They just have to be better than your basic stock computer speakers. They have to be better than the headphones that you're currently mixing in right now. A lot of people want to mix in headphones, and that's okay, but you shouldn't only mix in headphones. You should also be referencing the same mix on speakers as well. Headphones don't represent the sound traveling through an actual space. There's going to be a little bit of extra reverb just based on the speakers sending the signal through the air before it hits your ear. The stereo separation in sounds is also a lot different, since you have one on one ear, one on the other, and they're both playing. It's going to sound a lot different than both of the speakers just projecting the sound at you and both of your ears picking up that sound. So mixing in headphones and mixing in monitors is a very big difference. You want the actual studio monitors. You want to pay attention to the frequency range that it's going to be giving you. Some speakers and amplifiers will color the sound or give it some sort of a certain tone, give it extra bass, extra treble, whatever. When you're picking out your studio monitor speakers, you want to make sure that you're getting the most transparent speakers that you possibly can. That means whatever sound you're putting into them, it's putting the same sound out without tampering with the frequencies at all. And anything less than this, you're going to have some very big headaches when it comes to finalizing your mixes and making it sound good on every single sound system that you play it back on. And we're going to stop it there for this time, folks. Thank you all so much for sticking around. I would love it if you could hit that subscribe button, if you could hit the like button on this video too. I recently just started a Patreon, so if you're feeling generous, that would be probably the best platform that you can support my channel on financially right now. We still have a long ways to go before Google and YouTube will let me monetize my channel. So every little bit that I can make on the side is greatly appreciated. The proceeds will go towards making the channel better, making my content better and more frequently, and I offer some pretty fun stuff for people over there in return for signing up. So I put a link down below in the description. Go check out my Patreon. I hope you all enjoyed the video and found the information within very useful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have fun out there.